All right, let's move on more to my neck of the woods and talk the biggest matchup of the day. Really has a chance to be the game of the non-conference season, at least this far. Could end up being like probably one of the best 5 to 10 games we see this year. It's Arizona on the road and Cameron Indoor at Duke. I will be in the building. Looking forward to that.
Hey,
I know the Field of 68 is doing a live show afterwards that I was not invited on, but I've already told Jeff Goodman and Rob Doster if Arizona wins, I'm coming on the show. And I think they think I'm joking, but but I will
I'm
be
there.
there.
I will be there.
I will be there, especially if Caleb Love drops 30 plus. I am still claiming that as a UNC win. Like that's what I do. Um, but yeah, I want to talk a little bit with this matchup. What are you most looking forward to about it? And what do you think is going to be like the X factors, like the key for Arizona to win or the key for Duke to win?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to shout out to Arizona for actually doing this. Like the fact that Arizona's going to Cameron for did they have their first real game or they still do exhibitions? I think they had their
Uh,
first real
yeah,
game,
they
right?
played Morgan State and beat them by
Morgan
like
State.
70.
Okay, yeah, true. So like first of all, credit to them for actually going to Cameron. I respect not ducking the smoke. And like you said,
Facts.
this is going to be a really good matchup. Flip has been one of the scariest players to me this year already because in everything that I watched him, whether it was the blue and white scrimmage for like Midnight Madness or the exhibition games, like I am actually looking into the fact that doctors might have cheated by giving him a new hip because he's a bad man with that. Like he was bad last year, but new hip flip is
It's
scary.
insane. It's
It's just
insane, man. I hate
and
it.
man and Roach is so and Roach and McCain. Do you know Mark Mitchell's playing in this game?
I haven't seen that. I haven't looked. I need to look it up.
Okay. Okay, because I think that'll actually play a factor. But even though even beyond that, I think that the true I it might be the easy cop out here, but I feel like it's going to come down to what guards play better. Like
Hmm.
you got Bradley, you got Boswell, and you got Caleb Love. Like I think it's going to come down to those guards versus, you know, versus Duke's guards. Honestly,
Hmm.
I think that's what it's going to come down to. And then at the same time, like, is Balo going to be able to hold his own against Flip? And that's also going to be an X factor, I think, just because Balo is probably going to have to guard Flip on the perimeter a little bit. Balo's pretty good at moving his feet for a big fella, but Flip's a different animal. So it's going to be a really, really good game. If I had to make a prediction, honestly, I think that Duke wins the basketball game just because of how they're looking. They're at home. Um, but I'll never doubt Caleb Love coming into Cameron. I'll tell you that.
Yep. Yeah, and I actually think, maybe I think we'll see Ballo on flip some. But if Mitchell's out, then Ryan Young's probably starting at the 5, which
Yeah, that would.
Umar Ballo is going to start the game. He could start the game with like 8 straight points if Ryan Young is on him. Like I don't think Ryan Young can't check Ballo, especially
Mm-hmm.
with having guards that know how to get him the ball. Um, but I think if there's any defensive player that can frustrate Filipowski this year, Kashad Johnson is in that mold. Great athleticism, good length, really smart defender who's come from a great system in San Diego State. Like that's the archetype for what you want to slow down someone like Kyle Filipowski. So I think I would assume that Tommy Lloyd's going to try to get him on flip for the majority of the game. Um, but yeah, that I think that'll be a huge swing factor. And then I'm honestly just kind of struck by how even the like guard matchups seem to be when you have like both teams have 4 guards that they can run through between like Bradley Boswell Love and Pella Larson for Arizona and then Roach McCain Foster and Proctor for Duke. Like that's going to make for some interesting matchups. Honestly, I think Caleb Love's defense could play a big role in this. Like last year, the big knock on him was his off-ball defense, and he like told me that once and admitted that like sometimes he had fallen asleep, like getting around screens. Uh, and if he's on Jared McCain and McCain is running off of screens, like you can't let him get hot in a big game in Cameron. Such a tough place to win. They went undefeated there last year. But then again, Love can make up for it on offense. Like there's a decent chance he could get hot, go off for 25 plus points. I was crunching some numbers today to get his career averages against Duke. Uh,
Mm.
he's 4-3 against Duke. Don't forget that Duke fans. Caleb Love left UNC with a winning record against Duke, even after they swept us last year. In 7 games against Duke, averaged 17.7 points, 4.9 assists. So he's averaging about 18-5 in against Duke for his career. Now his shooting percentages, it's kind of been the story of his career, a little more bleak, only 40% from the field, 30% from three in those career games. But yeah, he's obviously had huge games against Duke before. And I think that's going to be the main storyline, but I don't. If you really get into it, I think like the front court battle is going to be equally as fascinating.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great game. Like I'm first of all, I'm jealous you're about to be in Cameron. That game's gonna be rocking,
I can't
and
wait, man.
it's gonna be a great basketball game. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like in moments like that, just because of who the guards are too, like Tyrese, like just the Tyrese Proctor and Caleb Love storyline. Like he leaves Duke. I mean, sorry, he leaves North Carolina after battling with Duke all those years at North Carolina, and then he's coming back to face Tyrese Proctor, who is everyone's been talking about Tyrese Proctor, first team All American, all this hoopla. You don't think Caleb Love hears all that? Like he's a player who hears that and relishes in shutting that talk down. So
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be a great game.
All right. Well, I'm sure we'll talk that on Monday. Or I won't be there. I'm sure y'all will talk it on Monday, but maybe I'll crash that. Honestly, I have the Zoom link and make a little cameo appearance.